Welcome, namaste, dear ones. I am Mrs. Lou, MD, 1111 Awakening, and I thank you so much for tuning in today. In this segment, I'm encouraging you as Earth Angels to thrive. And the reason why is because typically when you're an Earth Angel, you're someone that is very empathetic, someone that is a kindred spirit, a sensitive, sacred soul. And so even if you can remember back early on, and you know you're an Earth Angel if you clicked on this, more than likely you are, or you're curious for some reason. It resonates with you on some level. Thinking back to when you probably was a small child, you just were more spiritually inclined, no matter what persuasion background you come from. Me, myself, coming from a more so religious background. In addition to that, we still practice native customs. And so it was more so a balance of the spirituality and the religious connotation being from the South. And so being that I was really in tune with my feelings and being very highly sensitive, I was able to tap into a level of healing that I really knew that was a purpose on my life, even as a young child. And so I was able to really guard my mind and my thoughts. I wanted to really tune into just the best and elevate and evolve into the best version of myself as humanly possible. And so just to give some more explanation into an Earth Angel. Earth Angels are also considered light workers, indigos, empaths, HSP, people that are highly sensitive personalities. Earth Angels want to align with pure loving energy, which is helpful for others to find their highest self in this lifetime. They have good intentions for themselves and others and desire true harmony with divinity. Earth Angels are highly sensitive, and this trait is a superpower. Being intuitive in nature, which is useful as a spiritual guide in life by trusting the inner knowing, the inner wisdom with divine messages. If any of this resonates with you, you are surely an Earth Angel or a light worker. Also, you are in tune with the fact that you have a divine purpose here to heal and raise the frequency of the collective on Earth. This is really important, especially during a very transformative year such as 2020, where there is so much being purged from society, literally. And it's nothing to really be afraid of. And usually if you're really keen to your senses and to your higher power, you realize that there is nothing to fear but fear itself. And when I say that, I mean that you have an inner knowing that everything will work out for the greater good. And it's because you are in tune with a higher frequency. Now, getting into the aspect of thriving as an Earth Angel is something that is very important, because so often when you are a very sensitive person, when you're an empathetic person, you're loving, you're giving, and sometimes it can be very difficult to turn that off, or not necessarily turn it off, but to really scale it down when it comes to those that are takers. Now, takers meaning that people that really are operating below the veil of consciousness, for lack of a better term, people that tend to assume that your kindness is a weakness. And so people that are very empathetic and loving and giving, a lot of times are that way for a reason, because we are essential angelic beings in this earth realm in order to really heal. But when you get to a point where you're not standing in your power, you're not standing up for yourself, when it comes to just a lot of people that may be around you, it can put you into a position of anger, resentment, a level of guilt, because you're feeling this need to help so many different people, and it's difficult for you to really manage that. I invite you to understand the power that you really have when it comes to your gifts and your abilities, And for so long, there's been a lot of people that have been in tune with their psychic selves, clairvoyance, clairaudient, just being in tune with a higher power. Excuse me. I am a former hairstylist of years, so I am transitioning to just not over grooming. So it's a process for me. So just disregard seeing me straighten my hair out. It's just a matter of habit that I am evolving from. So back on topic. When you are someone that is very empathetic and loving and nurturing, and you want to give to so many different people, you have to learn how to manage that in a way that serves not only the best interest for others, but first and foremost, serves the best interest for yourself. Because if you are in a space where you're just giving, not only materially, but if you're giving energetically, if you're being a listening ear for this person or that person, if you are always the person that is basically in a fixer mode for others, it can leave you at a deficit. Because if you're not getting replenished, you're going to be withdrawn. It's basically just like even how when you think about a bank account, if you're taking from the account, constant withdrawals and no deposits, you're going to be operating at a deficit. There's nothing that can be withdrawn. And so typically sometimes when you are somebody that's a natural healer, whether it be male or female, and you love people, but at the same time you avoid people, and it's because you may not be in a space to really manage the emotions you're going through. And sometimes you could look at your gifts and abilities as a weakness. And I want to encourage you that it's not a weakness at all. It is a strength. It is something that's transformative and that's needed on this planet. Because as we know, there's so many that are out here and that are operating in a sense of carnal mindedness, in a sense of low frequency. And if there aren't anyone that is empathetic and loving and healing on this planet, what type of world will we be? Speaking to the divine feminine in particular, you have to realize that being the nice girl, it has a lot of negative connotations. And it's something that I really wanted to live up to ever since I was a little girl. I just always had this moral compass of wanting to do right. And it was just so strong, and it almost felt as if my life depended on it. Even when it came to being a daughter, the acknowledgement that I got from my father really laid a foundation that I wanted to be pleasing in his sight. Couple that with the Heavenly Father coming from a religious background. And so this is something that can be used against you. So I know sometimes they can kind of, when you are really into your true femininity, you're loving, you're nurturing, within a society that really preys on those type of characteristics as is something weak, it can cause you to shy away from others, in which is something I did. But realize that through the process of truly awakening to my gifts and abilities early on, I knew the importance of solitude, which is extremely important. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, being within society is a vital aspect. I still would have to go out and deal with others, even when it came to family, relatives and such, associates. So being empowered in my truth, understanding my gifts and abilities strengthened me to the point where I was able to learn that it's okay for me to be loving and nice, but at the same time, not a pushover, not to be taken as somebody that's an idiot, basically, because of my nurturing and loving heart, my forgiving heart. So in my spiritual awakening process, I discovered there was a vast difference between being a nice girl, per se, being loving, and allowing people to really infringe on my God-given abilities. I realized that I had strengths in order to really connect with those that were going through things, or just people that were also kindred spirits. Even though there were people that, and early on as a child, I recognized sometimes people that are operating out of anger, out of jealousy, out of nastiness, are operating from a place of pain. So by being empathetic, especially as a hairstylist, and I started doing hair very early on, I was able to really transmute those feelings. So at times I would come across females that, for whatever reason, may have judged me in a negative way, and I was nice, I was hospitable to them, but they were operating out of their own self-loathing, out of the conditioning from society to be catty, to be difficult. And I was able to really connect with them in a way without saying much, just being myself, just being my loving self, so that they can see that you do not have to have this tough exterior. You do not have to take on the characteristics of toxic masculinity in order to survive as a female. And so that's something that I feel is important, because just by being in your true nature and not changing who you are because of the society we live in, it is a way to really heal, just by being in others' presence, by being loving, by being true to yourself, but also, most importantly, by having boundaries, being comfortable and being confident enough to say no, and realizing that you don't have to use profanity, you don't have to become toxic. You can stand in your truth and still be the loving, caring person that you are, but realizing that your no's are valid as well when it comes to others. Okay, so also another thing I wanted to mention is about, I noticed that very early on, dealing with hostile people, dealing with people that were very pressurized due to a lot of the systematic racism going on, due to the gender wars that's going on within a patriarchal society that's not very balanced. You come across people that can tend to be on edge. And for whatever reason, sometimes people could be triggered by you, triggered by your essence, your beauty, your energy. And so when you are somebody that's sympathetic and more of a reserved, soft-spoken person, it can cause you to scale down on who you are, just so that you're not offending others. And that is a reality for a lot of divine feminists. And I invite you to realize that being truly who you are as an earth angel, as a divine feminine, is something that you need to be empowered by. If that means that you have to limit the type of people that you are around, no matter if they're relatives, associates, or what have you, you do so. Your energetic space is valuable, and it's important that you respect that. All right, so what else I wanted to mention here? Okay, so I was raised to be humble and loving towards others, and I'm thankful for those values till this very day. However, I realized that I was not comfortable with the way I felt leaving different experiences that were unfortunate with others. I've always been aware of my keen sensitivity towards energies, and I prayed for insight into dealing with others and feeling empowered afterwards without resorting to negativity, internalizing negativity. Through intuitive information given to me, I began finding books about being highly sensitive, empathetic, indigos, earth angels, etc. And I discovered that I had the strength to be kindly assertive, and that other situations were not my concern, nor how they interpreted my boundaries, which is extremely important. Boundaries as an earth angel are essential. If you are the type of person that you okay, I got it. If you're the type of person that you exude just the energy that you are a helpful person, be aware there are people that really want to take advantage of that, and unfortunately that is just a truth of the matter. Sometimes as an earth angel you can really tend to think that you want to think the best of others, which is honorable, but realistically there are people out here that they're lost. They are lost and don't want to be found, and they don't want to be guided in the proper way of doing things, and just to extend respect to others. And sometimes people are hurt on such a visceral level. They're hurt so deeply that what you're getting, the feedback that you're getting from them, is basically just symptoms of the hurt that they're feeling on the inside. So avoid taking it personally, negativity that you get from others as an earth angel. Be encouraged and be true to yourself and be loving. And the thing about being empathetic is the very strange thing I noticed early on about being very empathetic is that when you're around others that may have negative energies, since you're naturally wanting to be helpful and you have these healing properties about yourself, you kind of take on their energies and you begin to feel within your body feelings of, just for lack of a better term, you begin to feel ill per se, or drained. These are signs that these may not be the people that you resonate with. And it's not that, for instance, like I mentioned about being an earth angel, being a kindred spirit is about increasing the frequency on this planet. That's for sure. But it's not literal in saying that every person you encounter is a task that you must take on. It's important to realize that you can observe situations but not absorb them, not allow others' energies to affect your auric field. Earth angels want to align with pure loving energy, which is helpful for others to find their highest self in this lifetime. They have good intentions for themselves and desire true harmony with divinity. Earth angels are highly sensitive, and this trait is a superpower. Being intuitive in nature, which is useful as a spiritual guide in life, and by trusting the inner voice with divine messages. When you start feeling a physiological response within your body, for instance, your palms may itch or get sweaty, your heart rate may increase, just different things about your body that you may pick up on when you're around people without them even saying anything. Energy is something, if you're really in tune with yourself, if you really practice clearing your energy and your auric field begins to increase, you'll be able to pick up on it more so. These signs, these intuitive signs, are extremely important because it's the universe way, it is the divine mother and divine father's way of giving you triggers, of inclinations of when to exit situations, when to act in situations, when not to react in situations. These are things that, for the most part, when you're institutionalized within school and stuff, a lot of your senses have been intentionally dulled down because you're told to not really pay attention to the sensory things that are going on with you. All right, so it's important that you begin to spend time with yourself. Solitude and fasting is so important because it allows your body to really recalibrate and your senses to become even more heightened so that you can pick up on things, so that you can get more information from the heavenly realms in order how to continue to navigate within this society, within this world in a peaceful way, by being true to yourself, by loving yourself, and realizing the importance of living within your truth as a divine being, as a sacred soul, as an earth angel. It is important. And we are out here. We are a major contributor to healing this planet. All right, through divinity, through just truly connecting with the spiritual realm. There are so many out there that really feel a sense of despair when it comes to your senses and your gifts. And truthfully, even when you think about cartoons growing up, right? There's so many different cartoons about the feminine, the divine feminine archetype that has these special gifts and feeling as if it is more so a curse because she doesn't really know or doesn't have the tools in order to use them. And it can almost feel like you are a proverbial black sheep per se. But sometimes when you are set apart, and it is because you are special. There's nothing wrong with being special. You are divine. And you have to realize that with your gifts, you have the ability to understand them. You have the ability to really live in your truth and live the life you want. You can experience a heaven-like life here on earth right now. It just takes you to pay attention to your characteristics, your traits as a divine feminine, and be empowered by those things. Realize that there is strength in being soft, and being feminine is not nothing that is, society tries to put it out there that femininity is sort of a detriment. But as we see what's going on in society now, the earth is a feminine force. But if the earth isn't well, if Mother Earth isn't well, things will be purged, things will be burnt, all kind of things will wreak havoc in order for true alignment and balance to come back. So until next time, I invite you to vibe higher and thrive. I am Mrs. Luvindy, 1111